Hello everyone, Neph here, and today we have a quick video. It has been a while since we last did a video, but that's because this time around I was adding quite a lot. I added a map editor and a whole bunch of other things, so yeah, that took quite a while. And I kind of wanted to have it done before I showed it off. Now, I mean, it's still not completely done, but a lot of it's there, a lot of the functionality. And before we do that though, let's just jump into some of the changes in the actual game because they're more fun to look at. So for now you might see that for the first time ever we have an enemy. Yes, indeed. I give you Kenny. His name is Kenny. I don't know why, he's just called Kenny. I mean, my art skills are not the best, so I was going for a guy in a cloak. This was the result, so I just called him Kenny, because he kind of reminded me of something. And yeah, so like he just, randomly shoots fireballs at you, because like, why not? And you can actually see the fireballs themselves, like they have a side view and all. Like everything else, they kind of, like they're viewable from different angles. So yeah, if I get hit enough times I will die, so I'm just going to ice Kenny here. Bye Kenny. So they do die and all, which is nice. And we can also sprint for the first time, which is nice. If I hold down shift, I'll go much faster. And, ooh, I'm not used to running so fast. But yeah, it's actually kind of hard to aim though when I do that, so I kind of don't want to do it all the time. But yeah, so let's just ice some Kennys while we talk. Oh, hello Kennys. We also have bullet spread for the first time. If I shoot the wall here, you'll notice. It's a bit basic right now, it doesn't work that well, but it's alright, it kind of works. And it's sufficient like for what it needs to be. I do need to improve it though and kind of give it better distribution. But for now it works. And so like I just had the shotgun in here with the spread just to show it off. And now we have another Kenny, so I'm just going to avoid that and murder him. I'm still not that good at actually aiming. It's hilarious. But yeah. Oh, and excuse the really poor muzzle flash. I didn't actually realize it when I did it, but I forgot that the engine doesn't support currently partial transparency. So it's just this massive red blob when you fire. But it gets the effect through, kind of works. So what else? I also added the ability to crouch now. So if I go to this vent over here, which is kind of hard to see, if I hold down C, I will actually crouch. And it's not a toggle, you just hold it down as long as you want to. So if I crouch in here, I can actually walk through the vent, which is like tiny, like half height. And the nice thing as well is you don't have to hold C down once you're in the vent, it'll just know not to let it go. So like I've now let go of C, and when I walk out, I will actually get bigger. So that's handy. So yeah, so engine wise plenty of stuff in there, but what I've actually spent most of my time on this time around was the map editor. Although actually while I'm at it I might just show you, if I close this and I go back in, if I turn on debug mode, you can actually see that the Kennys do, it's hard to see from here, but when you're not around they will actually wander as well, so we do have some wander in there. Like that green box is basically their current target. And even when they're shooting at you, when they're not shooting, they will, wander a bit. So yeah, like the enemy AI is pretty much done, to be honest, for grading. Like, aside from like some complicated stuff, a lot of the basic stuff is in there. So that's nice. And I'm just going to close this now. And yeah, so now I'm just going to show you the editor quickly. So this is the editor. It doesn't look like much, but this is what I've spent a lot of my time on the last while. You can zoom in and out. And if you actually zoom out, the grid becomes very, dark. You can barely see it. But if you zoom in, you can see it. And each grid square is about 1 meter, sort of. Yeah, let's just go with that. And generally, I tend to make my hallways about 4 meters, although I think 3 might be better. But yeah. So what I'll do now is just show you quickly the tools. Like for this, there isn't a fancy GUI right now, so it's really just, you press number keys to get each of your different tools. And you kind of just learn them off. There's only 4 of them anyway. And so if you press 1, you can just, kind of pan around. And you can also pan around with the WASD keys. But obviously the mouse is easier, you just drag around. Then if you press 2, you go into line mode, you can actually draw lines. As you can see, this is a line to the grid, but I think if you hold down shift, yeah, it actually allows you to draw them just anywhere. Currently though, that's not fully implemented yet, so I'm just going to like do it all snapped. So let's just draw a hallway. It also gives me a lot of time for a strategic burp. But yeah, you can also see as we're drawing, it'll also show the range, like the actual length of the line, which is very useful when you're trying to draw rooms, because you want each room to be kind of like, multiples of say 4, because that's what the textures are. So I'll just do that, and I could make this more complicated, but let's not overcomplicate this. I suppose I'll just do a door or something just to kind of show it off. And just do that, and that. And then of course you could have like another, kind of hallway coming off there. There was actually a time when I didn't show the length, and it was really a pain in the ass. I had to count them every time. So yeah, and then of course the tool I just showed you without even mentioning it is if I press 4, I get the fill tool. And so with this, it shows me this little bucket icon, and basically you just click anywhere in the polygon, and it fills it. That seems like a really simple thing to do, but that was actually a real pain in the ass. It's sort of a flood fill algorithm. It's not really though, because it's more a case of kind of going through the entire graph of lines and trying to figure out, you know, what loop of lines is enclosing your point. It sounds really complicated because it is kind of complicated and it's annoying. I mean, if you do algorithms a lot, it's actually not that hard, but if you're me, it's a pain in the ass. So yeah, that was the most complicated part of this whole map editor. But it seems to work now, which is nice. And it has to do a lot of extra stuff as well, like make sure the sectors are actually counterclockwise and stuff. But it pretty much does it all the time now, and pretty much always works. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's actually bug-free at the moment, but I mean, don't hold me to that. So, of course, the only tool I didn't show you really is the edit tool. So if I just draw, say, like a few lines here, just like any old shape, it doesn't really matter. And if I press 3, I get the edit tool, which is this little arrow. And so with this, like if you've made mistakes, this is what this tool is for. Like you can move around points if they're in the wrong place, which is very nice. Like I can make this a proper square if I wanted to. Well, thereabouts. And you can actually delete points as well with the delete key, which is very handy. So if you completely mess up, you can just delete a point and like add an extra point or something. And yeah, so that all works, and then I can, you know, add a line on there, and still fill that. So that all works. And actually as well, if I select a point that's part of a polygon and delete it, it'll actually kill the whole polygon. So that's, I mean, again, it all works as you'd expect it to, really. And it was fun though when I had to make maps before I had all these tools in here, because it was so goddamn difficult. You had to get everything perfect the first time or start over. And so I started just adding all these different tools. But yeah, so like now you have sort of a map, maybe. And what you do with this is you can actually go in, and if you press V, you get a 3D view. So yeah, with this you can actually see the whole map as it's rendered in the game, which is very nice. This makes it much easier to kind of grasp what you're doing. And as well, this is what you use to texture it. So you see on the left side I have all the textures. And that's not just like the world textures, that's every texture in the game right now. I basically auto-detect them. It's done in a weird kind of C# way I've never used before, but it's kind of handy actually. There are parts of C# that are kind of like weird magic, but I kind of like it. But yeah. So what I can do here now is I can just go in and say, grab a wall texture, and I can start, you know, placing down walls. Just throw them all on. And I don't know if you can see it in the video, but you do have a cursor here. And I can just throw on like a sky texture everywhere else. And by sky texture I mean just blue. And throw down some carpet, some pretty carpet. Oh god, that's carpet on the wall, that's madness. And yeah. And so like with that you can see it's pretty simple. And a nice thing you can do as well is when you're in this, you know, view, you can actually hold down Control, and if you aim at like a floor or a ceiling and you use your scroll wheel, you'll actually adjust the height of them. So I can actually bring down this floor just by looking at it. I should say. Sorry. I'm having one of those days where I can't talk properly. You'll have to excuse me. But yeah, and now I get like, of course when I drop that down I get another surface, so I can just add these on. So yeah, like that makes it very, very easy to kind of quickly make stuff up. And like normally what you would do in a thing like this is you would set the floor heights in the 2D view, you know, in here. But that would be kind of a pain in the rear to have to do for every polygon. It's so much easier to just, you know, like do it while you're looking at it. Like I could adjust up the ceiling as well. And each time it moves, like, you know, just a small amount. But yeah, so that's quite nice. And it's pretty damn quick to just do everything. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, like, there were a surprising amount of problems adding some of this stuff in, but purely, it was mainly down to stupid mistakes. But I mean, that's always the case really when it comes to programming. But yeah, so I mean, like, that's pretty much the map editor. I won't show you this map in game right now because currently, if I was to do that, the problem with like any kind of map editor in any kind of game is that you usually change how it works a lot. And if I was using save files, that would break them every single time. So I'd keep, you know, like losing stuff, and also it would be a pain to keep changing how it saves. So what I've done instead is that for now, currently, when I actually save a map, I literally just dump it as code, and then I hard code that into the game. Like, obviously that's not a permanent solution, but for like currently right now that works very well, because it means I don't have to change it every single time. and that's just, it's very nice that way. So yes, that's that. That's kind of just shows off the map editor. And that's pretty much it, I think. That's pretty much all I had to tell you today. Apart from that, I noticed some issues like with the collision. I mean, as I said before, it's pretty much perfect now, but there are some issues where if you run very fast, you can actually phase through with the walls. But I know why it is. It's down to like a really kind of simple thing I should have fixed ages ago. So I'm going to fix that in the next version. Also, I want to make maps, save and load properly, because it's about time I did that. And I also want to add a weapon hotbar so I can have, different types of weapons. So like one would be your fists, and like two would be a different type of weapon. And you can also have different, like several different weapons on it, like each key, like say 3 weapons on 2 and such. So yeah. That's pretty much it. I mean, I've been rambling now for like 10 minutes, so I should probably stop. I think I've mentioned everything I wanted to mention. And yeah. So guys, on that note, I guess what I should probably do, aside from, kill some Kennys, is I'll just say, and good day.